Venezuela's currency is destroyed. The people are upset, civil unrest has taken hold, and the hemorrhaging is unstoppable at this point in time. Caracas is potentially the most dangerous city in the world as chaos breaks out into the streets, civil wars become a reality, and ordinary people turn against their fellow man in violent opposition. This is the testing ground for the New World Order's hellish plans. You came here for the truth, so let me unveil that for you. Let's talk about Venezuela, and let's connect that in with other regions around the world, beginning with this article right here. Venezuelans were wearily rushing to deposit banknotes or dump their cash savings entirely following an announcement by the president that he was invalidating the country's biggest bill because of what he says is an attack on the nation's liquidity. So here we have, by decree, suggesting what's going to happen at every step of the way. This is the planned economy that is planned to fail. The socialist leader shocked the country on Sunday when said the 100 bolivar would be removed from circulation within 72 hours. So giving people basically no notice. They're already waiting in line half the day to get their basic essentials. And now they have 72 hours to get rid of these bills. For months, the South American nation has suffered a hard cash shortage. Why? Because people are using wheelbarrows full of it as inflation spirals toward a whopping 500%. Now, these numbers vary depending on who and what is calculating this. I'll get into that more in a moment. Which Maduro insists is the product of an economic war and an attempt by his political foes to smuggle currency out of Venezuela. While this could certainly be true, have some truth to it, I do believe that these economic wars are taking place not just here, not just in Venezuela, but of course all around the world. If you want a nation's resources, what is the absolute easiest way to strangle them? Well, of course, it's by manipulating the currency. You can destroy an economy, destroy their currency. Eventually, they're going to have to beg and plead. And there will be nations, supranational entities, which come to the rescue, so-called rescue, of that nation. And don't worry, because the corporations who own and control every country around the world will be there to rape and pillage every last bit of those resources. Let's look at this next article here. Again, talking about Venezuela. The central bank hasn't put out inflation data all year, but this individual and his team say the annual inflation as of December 9th is 375%. So even those, a low ball on this estimate is 375%, okay? You can't keep up with 375% annual inflation. It's not possible. It's destroyed. It's gone. Others have said the number could be running twice that high, and I believe they could be referencing the IMF suggesting 720% within 2016. Economists and administration critics blame the soaring prices on the failed economic policies, including the draconian price and currency controls, which perversely have fueled speculation in the black market. You can't stifle this. You can't control it. In fact, it's like that, the beach ball underwater effect. The harder you push it down, the quicker and the more acceleration you give it on the way back up. The economic warfare being waged by the shadowy forces. On Friday, the government confiscated, this is what I'm talking about a dictatorship, okay? The government confiscated 4 million toys from the warehouse of this individual here company, one of the country's largest merchandise distributors. The government accused the company of hoarding the trinkets. Hey, you're not sharing the wealth. They could be sold at 54,000% markup. Now, those seized toys will be distributed at fair prices. So they're going to give these toys out to the children around the cities. And they're going to try to do this to essentially get in good with the family. Say, hey, look, he's trying to do something good. He's trying to, win us back. He's not so bad of a guy. And literally robbing this company. Now, maybe they were up to no good. Maybe this company is, not the nicest out there. But to steal from the company, to have the government go in and steal from this company and give it away to the people, that is not a solution in any which way or form. I do see this as basically what they do all around. Think of all the taxpayer bailouts. When you have a corporation that is stealing, a lot of these investment companies essentially stealing from the people. Look at all the banking establishments. Steal from the people. They go bankrupt or on the verge of bankruptcy. The government comes in and says, don't worry, we'll bail you out. They use the taxpayer money, that's your dollars and my dollars, being used to bail out these corporations. And what happens? What do we get from it? Maybe you get that little rebate. Cash for Clunkers program. What about that? Maybe you get that little benefit. You got $500 now. Wow. I got some of that bailout. I'm feeling good. But, 3 people in your inner circle lost their jobs. Your wage didn't increase this year or the next year or the one after because of hard times, economic struggle. How many times did I have to hear that myself? No raise this year. Company's not doing so well. How many of you heard that before? Look at this. This is the Baltic Dry Index. In my opinion, one of the most important indicators of the health of the global economy. Look at this chart and look at a chart that they will not, I repeat, they will not, once again, they won't show you in the mainstream media, because this shows how bad things are. Everything was booming, in the early 2000s, up until the financial crisis. You had a little rebound afterwards, and that quickly ran out of steam. Today, not quite at an all-time low, but basically at an all-time low. And this is essentially showing you global trade. Okay, that's generally what we're looking at here. Think about it for a moment here. I happen to have an inside source in the shipping industry, what I would consider to be a very high-level individual, telling me on a personal level how real bad things are in the shipping industry. Okay, so I'm hearing that from the top. Things are not, I assure you, things are not going well. It comes after months of warnings from experts, including top military brasses, that massive economic issues, mass immigration, and terrorism will lead to a full-scale crisis. Remember, as I read these words, this is not me, I'm reading from the Daily Star here. They have predicted this will affect the entire continent, eventually leading to civil war on the streets. One of the most apocalyptic warnings came from this individual, the Swiss head of the armed forces, okay? A high-level individual. He left his job saying the combination of the hybrid wars, the economy, and the refugee crisis would have unforeseen dimensions. He then claimed that social unrest was something that Europe's leaders and armies had to be prepared for. Okay, remember all of these words: hybrid wars, economy, unforeseen dimensions, refugee crisis, social unrest, civil war on the streets, and the apocalyptic warnings are all within that same theme that I talk about on practically every single one of my videos. And here we're hearing it from the Swiss head of the armed forces. Okay, this is serious. It's not just in Europe, although he's highlighting that. It's going global. Syrian devastation. I just wanted to read you this. Rescue workers in Aleppo out of body bags following a catastrophic day of bombardment. Out of body bags. Just think about that. This is crazy what's going on there.